जय श्री श्री राधचंद्र की राधा दामोदर।
जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे। जय Chapter 17, verse 2. Just half an hour, Maharaj.
Half an hour, okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is 17:5 and 6. Ashatravitam guram taprati tapujanam.
Asastravitam guram tapastraji tapujanam.
Rambahangara samyukta kamaraga varangita.
Ahankara samyukta kamaraga varangita.
Ashanta sharirashtam buddhagamatitasah. Mam vajjanta sharirashtam tam vidyasuramishchayam. Translation: those who undergo severe austerities, penances, and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, are all impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. They are persons who manufacture modern austerity and penance, which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunctions. For instance, fasting for some ulterior purpose, such as to promote a pure political end, is not mentioned in the scriptural directions. The scriptures recommend fasting for spiritual advancement, not for some political end or social purpose. Persons who take to such austerities are, according to Bhagavad Gita, certainly demoniac. Their actions are against the scriptural injunctions and are not beneficial for the people in general. Actually, they act out of pride, false ego, and lust, and attachment for material enjoyment. By such activities, not only it is the combination of material elements of which the body is constructed, disturbed, but also the Supreme Personality of God Himself living within the body. Such unauthorized fasting or austerities for some political end are certainly very disturbing to others. They are not mentioned in the scriptures. A demoniac person may think that he can force his enemy or other parties to comply with his desire by this method. But sometimes one dies by such fasting. The acts are not approved by the Supreme Personality of God, and he says that those who engage in them are demons. Such demonstrations are insults to the Supreme Personality of God because they are enacted in disobedience to the Vedic scriptural injunctions. The word Advaita Swaha is significant in this connection. Persons of normal mental condition must obey the scriptural injunctions. Those who are not in such a position neglect and disobey the scriptures and manufacture their own way of austerities and penances. One should always remember the ultimate end of the demoniac people as described in the previous chapter. The Lord forces them to take birth in the wombs of demoniac persons. Consequently, they will live by demoniac principles life after life, without knowing their relationship with the Supreme Personality of God. If, however, such persons are fortunate enough to be guided by a spiritual master who can direct them to the path of Vedic wisdom, they can get out of this entanglement and ultimately achieve the supreme goal. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyanajana Sulakaya Chakshurumidam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is Lord Krishna speaking. Here Lord Krishna is answering the question. In this Bhagavad Gita, there are about 20 questions that Arjuna asked. The first question comes out in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, text number 54. There he's asking about what are the symptoms of a person who is on the transcendental platform. How does he walk? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? All right. That's the first question. And then another question comes in verse number 1 of the third chapter. And also verse number 36 of that chapter, verse number 1 verse number 4 of the 4th chapter. Is that same question. And chapter 5, verse number 1, chapter 6, verse number 6, 33, 34, 6, 37, 38, 39. And then chapter 7, he does not ask questions, chapter 8, verse 1 and 2. And then number 9, chapter 9, he didn't ask questions. Chapter 10, he asked questions, verses 17 and 18. And then chapter 12, verse number 1. Here, chapter 13, verse number 1 and 2, 14, 21, 15, 16, he didn't ask questions. And then here he's asking again. The question here in the first verse is, what about those people who worship without following the scriptural injunctions? Are they worshiping in goodness? Are they worshiping in passion or ignorance? So that is why Lord Krishna is giving this answer here. That those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures perform them out of pride and egoism, who are bewildered by lust and attachment, who are foolish, and who torture the material element of the body as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. So this is a very good description of demons, because you see also some people, they don't believe in God, but they will have some worship of some demigod or powerful man. Like in India, there was a man who made a small altar, was worshiping Donald Trump. So when Donald Trump lost elections, he died. He just decided he was not going to live. I don't know what is good about Trump. But some people, Baba gave an example that in India during the war, someone was worshipping Adolf Hitler because in black market he had made a lot of money. So they all fall into this category of worshipping not according to the scriptural direction. So they are demonic. Yeah. So in that way we can understand what is recommended in the scriptures. So it says that in Bhakti Rasamrita Singh with that, I forgot this verse now, that devotional service that is performed not according to Smriti, Shruti and Smriti. Shruti, Smriti, Purana, yeah.
Pancharati within.
Yes, Pancharati within. That it causes disturbance in society. So in that way, this is what Krishna is confirming here, that any form of worship or devotional service that is not according to the scriptures is demonic. So this is the answer here the Lord that gave to Arjuna's questions. What about those who worship without following any scriptural injunctions? Are they worshiping in moral passion, moral goodness, moral passion, or ignorance? So that is the answer that is given to that question here in chapter 7. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Still 15 minutes here.
15 minutes. Any questions? Okay. So we just got here today from Nairobi. I came with one young lady from South Africa because I always tell stories in South Africa how beautiful Mombasa is. And when I was here last time, I had a couple came called Ananda. They didn't know, they knew I was here, they didn't want me to know, so they came here and they were very, very impressed by the temple here, and it was very nice. So it's very nice to be here, to see Rukmini, Dwarkadisham, Sitaram Lakshman, Hanuman, and the devotees. Krishna consciousness is about understanding the teachings of the Supreme Lord and following. That is what is called bhakti. It means devotion. That devotion comes from surrender. Surrender means to depend on the instructions of the Lord. But the jiva, because by nature he has a desire to become God or the controller, he steals the scriptures for his own end, for his own ambitions. He can use the scripture for his own ambitions. So that person is not a priest. He is a demon. He may act like a priest. A priest, a real devotee, is someone who is repeating the words of the Lord, and he lives his life according to the scriptural injunction. That there are so many things that are not upheld in the scripture, but we propagate them. So that we understanding the scripture means to live according to the scripture. There is prachara and achara. Achara means etiquette, to behave. Prachara means to speak. We speak, but we also follow what we teach. That is acharya. Acharya Bam. Yeah? Am I right? I'm not a Hindu wala. I just repeat what is in Prabhupada. So acharya means from prachara, to speak, but you follow, you teach by your own examples. And then a person is said to be acharya. Worshipping of different personalities, even if it's Donald Trump, according to the scripture, is demonic. It's not that he's a demon, Trump himself. The person who's worshipping, he has a different mentality. Why? Because he's motivated by some material gain. So you want to achieve that through these different persons. So in that way, there are different questions that Arjuna asked here. Arjuna spoke about 84 verses in Bhagavad Gita, but there are 20 verses that makes up the important questions. Because the Bhagavad Gita, what it's teaching us, simple, is how to rise above the gunas. How to rise, you read from the beginning, you speak about the gunas. Activities in mode of passion, worship in mode of passion, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And therefore, when we read the Bhagavad Gita, we find that all the questions that are given and the answers are in line with service that is transcendental worship that is beyond the goodness. So when we understand what it means to rise above the gunas, and then devotional service become easy. Just like Ganga is relentlessly flowing to the sea. Because Ganga knows that I'm flowing to the right direction. But mixed devotional service means something in it that is not meant to please Krishna, which is meant for us, and then there is mixed bhakti. Arjuna was confused in the beginning. He was making statements like, I heard from disciple succession that those who destroy Guru Dharma, they dwell in hell always. He was making these arguments. And Krishna was listening. He said, no, you are not a pandit, you speak like a pandit. But you are just narrating. So then slowly, Krishna brought him to this point of understanding what is the important goal of life. That is being Bhagavatam Atapundur Dvija Shrishta Vanashrama Vibhakasha Anustistasya Dharmasya Samsudin Haritoshanam. That whether one is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya or Shudra, whether one is sannyas, grihastha, brahmachari, vanaprastha, if his activities are pleasing to Hari, his life is perfect. That is the goal. You can be sannyas, but if your actions are not pleasing to Hari, then your worship can be in Rajaguna Dhamma. So that is the ultimate goal. That's why it says Sharva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Bhaja. That abandon all these ideas of yours, Arjuna, just surrender to me, and I will protect you from all types of fears This is the point. Arjuna was arguing based on his motivated consciousness. Yes. So the Lord is bringing him to Shuddha, pure, transcendental goodness. Where the goal is Samsiddhi Haridushanam, to please Bhagavan, that's all. No other desire. So when he came to that platform, he became free from confusion and anxiety. So that's what the Bhagavad Gita is driving on. Bhakti, that is free from Rajagun, Damagun, and Sattvagun, which is in Suddha. That's what is pleasing to Bhagavan, and that's what frees one from material bondage. So Arjuna was arguing, but he was just arguing based on material platform. So that is why the Lord is giving him these answers. Yes. So it's very, very beautiful. I find that Bhagavad Gita is a very special book because it's questions and answers, and it's very, very beautifully arranged. And we can understand what it means to perform pure devotion service. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Rukmin Dwaragati Ki. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ji Ki. Jai Shri Radha Damodar.